It doesn't fucking work. You sent me a fax number. There we go. And then we got some dipshit claiming to be from Web I Care, thinking my name is AD. AYDEE, apparently. Report spam. There we go. No problem. It's pretty easy to do on this phone. So let's call 988 since 211 won't fucking answer.
You've reached the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Para español, marque el número 2. To talk to the Veterans Crisis Line, press 1. To connect to support for LGBTQI+ youth and young adults, press 3. Otherwise, to talk with a counselor, stay on the line or press 0. To improve 988, your call may be monitored and recorded. If you stay on the line at the end of the call, you may be invited to participate in a short survey. We are checking for a counselor who is available to talk. You'll hear music while we do this, and we'll give you an update in 30 seconds. You are not alone.
Bullshit!
And want to support you. Someone will
Bullshit! 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 Stop fucking telling me bullshit! I don't need a goddamn answering machine selling me that bullshit!
988 Nebraska, may I help you?
Yeah, my name is Sean Schwartz. I'm in Oregon.
Sean, my name's Grant.
I'm in Oregon. I used to be a Nebraskan, and I was victimized into leaving. I'm victimized everywhere I go. I was hoping that this was hopefully the 988 Oregon number because I'm trying to get the number that I need to get assisted suicide, which is actually legal here.
Okay, let's see if I can find the Oregon 988 number for you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. They've got their website up. I'm looking through to see if we can find 988 is everywhere, but let's see if they've got another direct number. Okay. Their phone number, this is okay, 1-800-273-8255.
Thank you.
I hope that gets you to them. Yeah, this should be it.
Thank you, sir. Be safe.
All right, sir. You're welcome. You too. Bye-bye.
You've reached the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Para español, marque el número 2. To talk to the Veterans Crisis Line, press 1. To connect to support for LGBTQI+ youth and young adults, press 3. Otherwise, to talk with a counselor, stay on the line or press 0. To improve 988, your call may be monitored and recorded. If you stay on the line at the end of the call, you may be invited to participate in a short survey. We are checking for a counselor who is available to talk. You'll hear music while we do this, and we'll give you an update in 30 seconds. You are not alone. We care and want to support you. Someone will be with you soon.
Nebraska 988, how can I help you?
You're still Nebraska 988.
Yeah, what's going on today?
I'm in Oregon. I'm trying to get information on assisted suicide is legal here in Oregon, and I'm trying to get information on it.
Okay, yeah, so our services are based on your area code. So it looks like you must have a Nebraska area code, which is why you're getting the Nebraska call center.
Yes, ma'am. That's because I don't have the ability to instantly recall names and numbers at a moment's notice. So I just have to recall whatever my last address was. I am Nebraskan. I was abused here in Oregon, and I've been forced to become a resident of Oregon to try to turn in abuse here, and it still doesn't work. It's unsafe for me to be here, but it's a big racket. What can I do?
Yeah, that does sound like a lot. You said that you were abused in Oregon?
I'm still being abused in Oregon. Yes, ma'am. They're abusing me for my disability money. They literally made me move to Oregon, like, because a crime was committed against me here. I had to literally move to Oregon and become an Oregon resident. And even that isn't good enough for them to fulfill my legal rights. You know, I mean, I've been forced into homelessness everywhere that I move. There's no way for me to possibly get out of homeless when I'm forced to move over and over and over again. Meanwhile, I get disability money, which is obviously because I'm disabled, but it's not enough to live on out on the streets.
Right. Man, that's a lot to be going through.
Yeah, plus all
When
of my
you
back
say-
payment for my disability went to paying my predators for being predators, and that sucks. Nobody should be victimized. Nobody should be being taken
Right.
advantage of, and it's not okay that I've gone to the police and they won't do their jobs. When I was in Nebraska, I was
Right.
abused there repeatedly, and they wouldn't do their jobs there either.
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating when you're going to these different agencies for help and they're not helping you like you feel like they should, and
Like they're
doing
legally
their job
supposed
like
to.
they should.
Like they're legally supposed
Right.
to. If they can change the law
Um,
just so they don't have to do the job, they're breaking the law, because that's not what the law states. And I've got almost every mandated reporter I spoke to about the abuse, well, basically trying to talk in circles, as if I'm some idiot who doesn't know what's going on. And if they repeat themselves to the retard enough, maybe the retard will figure it out. It's disrespectful. It's dehumanizing.
yeah, and you definitely don't deserve that.
And I definitely still have to deal with it no matter what, because I don't have a guardian. I can't get anyone to do their jobs. It's not my job to force these people to do their jobs.
Right. It's not, and nor should you feel like it should be. You know, that pressure and that stress is not yours to take on.
Well, it's not a choice. When people choose to victimize me, it's not a choice. And that's how I am treated by every place that I call. And that includes the mandated reporters that I've called repeatedly, who wanted to pretend like it wasn't their jobs to be mandated reporters.
Oh. So just to clarify a little bit, you said that you are still being abused. Who are we talking about when you say that you're being abused, and what kind of abuse is this?
Well, it's been ongoing for about 8 years. Neglect, a lot of systemic abuse, a lot of physical assaults, a lot of psychological abuse. It's not just name calling and bullying, it's physical assaults and threats against my life and threats against my friends and family's lives. And that includes intimidation by police.
Okay. Are all of these abuse that you're talking about coming from the police, or are there other agencies
No,
or
ma'am.
other people that they're
There
coming
are
from?
other agencies. Here in Tillamook, all right, so standard procedure. A homeless person moves into town, the cops try to run them off. If it's somebody who's easy to victimize, like myself, they're probably going to get preyed on by the other homeless people. Some people are a pain in the ass to deal with. And I'm going to give you the example of Molly here in Tillamook. I had to flee Hood River and the Dalles, Oregon to come here to Tillamook to try to access services in Salem, Eugene, and Portland, which are all the cities that I was sent to. I have a social anxiety disorder, so I'm scared shitless of people. I can't live in a big city. Small towns say they have no resources. So what I'm trying to do is get people to stop pushing homeless people to suicide. Anyway, the situation with Molly, cop's standard procedure when you're homeless is to bully you and change the laws repeatedly. Try to tell you that the law is something other than it is, and they'll just repetitively lie to you. With that, when they do that, it results in you being victimized over and over and over again in that community. And you have to turn in the cops for doing that, and you also have to turn them in for trying to pawn you off on mental health. It's just assumed that everybody out here is on drugs and mentally ill. So, of course, we have to deal with being sent to drug treatment places when we don't do drugs. And, of course, mentally ill places that are going to treat us like we're 5-year-old idiots who don't understand the words that are coming out of their mouth when they're literally not hearing the words that are coming out of ours.
Yeah. When you say you report the police and these things that are happening to you, who do you report those things to?
Well, at first I'm sent to the police, and then I end up getting retaliated against by the police while I'm trying to report them. So I record everything.
Yeah.
Then I try to turn them into the places that I'm told to go to after that, and all of them, like clockwork, just want to set up a phone call, or they want to do things that are dangerous for me, like read off my phone number, and that right there, I'm stuck in public. That puts me at risk. Or
I understand.
they don't understand that I'm in a situation where I'm homeless in America. You know how bad the meth issue is. There is no way that you can live in America and not realize how bad the meth issue is. Plus, here in Oregon, there's the little blue pills that they keep smoking, and the fentanyl, and I don't do none of that stuff, but I get treated like one of those guys automatically if I go to the hospital or go to the police or go to mental health. They use me in order to commit Medicare and Medicaid fraud. They're not actually helping us to turn in our predators. They're being predatory towards us for financial gain. Same thing happened in Nebraska. Standard procedure. A homeless person comes to town. You bully the homeless person until they leave town. If that doesn't work, you charge them with crimes. If that doesn't work, well, then you...
Right. I hear how frustrating and
Man, going to police officers who didn't do their jobs, trying to turn in police officers that didn't do their jobs, this is horrible. This is like going to a rapist to turn in the rape. It sucks.
Right. Yeah, definitely a complicated process. I am wondering if one of the places that you were told to call was APS, Adult Protective Services,
yes,
by chance.
but they're through Northwest Senior and Disability Services, and here's the problem. All right, step one, you go to a new town, and the police, if there's an issue, blow you off. They don't do their job. Then they send you around all these services, just like the one you're trying to send me to now, and all they want to do is start therapy. They don't do any sort of case management. They bully their victims. I can't refer to homeless men as anything but their victims at this point. They don't do their jobs as mandated reporters, and they didn't the first like 5 months that I was here. And then all of a sudden, after all of them have committed crimes against me, then they say that they'll try to do it the right way, but that I don't want to do it that way. No, it is unsafe for me to do it that way now, because they all already committed crimes against me, and they graduated from committing misdemeanors by not reporting the crimes to committing felonies by trying to cover them up for themselves and their friends. I was assaulted at the hospital here on the 28th of January. That goes to the same cops. The hospital isn't going to admit to any wrongdoing. It doesn't matter how much evidence I have, even if it's recordings of the abuse. Nobody is taking it seriously, and sending me to officers who committed crimes against me doesn't work. They didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters when I first got here, and they know I'm trying to turn them in, so they bully me when I try to turn them in. Or they send out the officer that I'm trying to turn in specific to bully me before his sergeant gets there. Then I'm worked up and I'm fucking scared shitless, and then the sergeant bullies me. This is not okay. The same thing in Northwest Senior and Disability Services. They say it's not their job to investigate. Well, they're supposed to be Adult Protective Services. That's the thing, is that that's Adult Protective Services here, and they're not doing the job of Adult Protective Services.
Yeah. And that makes it really, really complicated, because then, it's who you're supposed to be turning to and who you're supposed to be going to, but they're not doing what they say they're supposed to be doing. And they're not doing their job to help you.
And they're not doing what they're advertised is supposed to be doing. And they're not calling the other agencies and saying, hey, this is not what we do. Like, they keep changing the laws back and forth based on who it is, whether or not the person is popular in the area.
Right. And then even on top of that, being retaliated against by these people for just trying to get help and trying to hold these people accountable and get the help that you need and standing up for yourself.
I'm not allowed to do any of that. Anyway, the assault on January 28th here, the assault is recorded on the hospital the hospital cameras, but the cops aren't going to investigate it. They made that loud and clear, and I did record it. I also recorded trying to go to the hospital. The problem is I don't have internet access except on my phones, and none of this electronic stuff that they're telling me to do, I'm not able to do any of it on my phones. I have computers. I have 2 of them in my car right now, but I have no place to plug them in and actually be safe. I'm stuck in public. It's not safe for me to be stuck in public.
Right. Before we continue, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Paige. Do you mind sharing your first name with me?
It's Sean.
Sean. And Sean, with all of this going on, I can just hear how much is on your plate, and just how stressful and frustrating and all of that this is. I do want to check in on your safety, because you also kind of mentioned it at the beginning of the call. But are you having thoughts of suicide today?
Ma'am, I'm in Oregon, and assisted suicide is legal in Oregon. That's specifically what I called to ask about.
Okay. So, yeah. So I don't have any information on that, because we are in Nebraska.
You know what happened in Nebraska? Let me tell you something that you can write down as a mandated reporter. I was sexually assaulted in the prison in Lincoln. I had to try to turn it in to Sarah Nelson, the assistant warden, who is now in prison for, guess what? Sexual assault against an inmate. I also tried to turn in Officer Michelle Decini at Lincoln Correction Center for assaults and abuse, hazing and harassment and bullying and messing with our food, of course. And I had to turn in pretty much everything to either her or to a woman named Munson, I think. Anyway,
What was that?
I think the lady's name was, no, it's Nutsi, Miranda Nutsi. Or I had to turn it into Sarah Nelson, one of those three women. Two of those women are currently in prison serving sentences for everything from sexual, they were having sex with inmates, both of them. There was also a third one, Vicky Peterson. She was also having sex with inmates. Now, these are the people that we're told we have to turn crimes that are committed in prison to. Guess what? I was not convicted. In Nebraska, you might know this. There's the county safekeep law. So if the local county doesn't have a facility for them, they can send them literally to the prison in Lincoln, where all of our rights are violated pretty much as soon as we walk through the door.
Oh, man.
We're not allowed the rights of a convicted felon because we're not convicted felons. We have to go back to the county that we're trying to turn in. That's the problem with this, is that this happens everywhere that I go. I am disabled. I had assisted living in Chapel, Nebraska. That's where I lived. I was victimized into leaving there. Police don't have to do their jobs if they call you mentally ill, apparently. But the thing is that I'm not schizophrenic, I'm not delusional, I have Asperger's, and it's communication difficulty, and everyone takes advantage of that. Now, it isn't just those three. There's also Michelle Quinn. She's one of the other places that I was sent by Scott DaCosta. Michelle Quinn was the sheriff of Garden County. He utilized Garden County to have me harmed, and Michelle Quinn was later arrested for assaulting her girlfriend, domestic abuse. There's also Polly Olson, who was arrested for stealing funds from the county. That's in Dual County. Now, all of this is in retaliation for me trying to turn in Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta from 2018 forward, over a situation where his deputies didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters, resulting in the death of Natalie Bollinger in 2017. All they were interested in doing was sending me around in circles of mental health, where I had to eat up all of my disability money, going from one appointment to another, to another, to another, to another, for over a year before Natalie got her brains blown out. I went to every friend that I could, but I'm an at-risk and disabled adult with a communication disability. I just get talked over. I go to my friends, I get talked over. So Polly Olson was, this is 4 people that you can look up. They're already in jail for this stuff. There's also the fact that I was sent in circles about whose job it was to investigate. It took them over 18 months to decide that Nebraska State Patrol Troop E were the ones who were supposed to do it. But then they didn't show up. They didn't keep their word. They didn't return call like they were supposed to, and they would only call from a restricted number. Meanwhile, I have people who call me from restricted numbers over and over and over again, threatening to kill me and my family, so I don't answer them, because listening to that shit will make a person suicidal. Listening to that stuff over and over and over again, call after call after call, will push a person to commit suicide.
I hear you. I do. I'm glad that you don't answer those phone calls, because you shouldn't have to listen to that. And I think that's good of you to ignore those calls if you know that they're not going to be
the problem here.
Or
the problem here is that the crimes committed by Scott DaCosta, I've been trying to turn them in since they were committed. I've been trying to turn in the situation with Natalie Bollinger since almost a year and a half before she was killed. It's not my fault nobody listens to me, and my disability isn't that I'm a retard. My disability is that everybody talks over me. The crimes committed by Scott DaCosta, it's the same as here, it's the same as in Hood River. They don't want hobos anywhere, regardless of if they're disabled or not. They're not going to do their job for a disabled hobo. They don't want hobos. They don't want them in Chapel, Nebraska. They don't want them in Hood River. They don't want them in Tillamook. They don't give a goddamn about our rights. They don't care that we're human beings. They just want us elsewhere. And they'll spend money to put us on a bus to go elsewhere. But they won't lift a finger to help us put a stop to crimes by the local citizens. We're just bullied into leaving.
Right. Yeah, I hear you, Sean, and I hear how just infuriating this is. You know, it's so frustrating that you aren't getting the help and the support that you need, and you're being treated so poorly.
You have an accent. Are you from North Platte? Sorry,
No,
that's
we're
not my
in
business.
Omaha right now. You're fine.
You don't have an Eastern Nebraska accent, though. You got a farm girl accent.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, how long has this been going on? How long have you been dealing with all of this? Because it sounds like it's been quite a while.
I've been dealing with the assaults since October of 2016. I've been dealing with it major since December of 2017 when she got shot in the head. It was real popular and all over the news. I tried to get protection orders against her and against her friends for their threats against my life and against my family's life, and nobody would help me with that. They just sent me in a circle saying it's nobody's job. Also, there's Adult Protective Services. They're supposed to investigate crimes against at-risk adults, but they won't do it if the police already fucked it up. Making me go back to police officers who didn't do their jobs is pretty messed up. The fact that it's Nebraska State Patrol's job and they messed around with me for over a year and a half trying to turn in Scott DaCosta, allowing him to destroy body camera evidence because they didn't do their jobs immediately like they should have. And then because of my disabilities, I can't do anything beyond that. All I can do is take the abuse. I don't have any money to spend. I'm sent in places like this to quote-unquote community support, and it's a bunch of drug addicts who are just going to take advantage of me. It's not community support. It's certainly not peer support. When a crime is committed against me here, I'm automatically treated like I'm some sort of junkie. It's dehumanizing. I'm disabled, not retarded. I have Tourette syndrome, not meth use.
Right.
I have autism,
Well,
not
Sean,
schizophrenia.
Right. With this going on for so long, I'm wondering what you've been doing to kind of manage all of these frustrations and just everything that's been going on.
I made over 7,000 videos on my YouTube channel speaking about the situation and showing all of the places that I've called. I recorded over 10,000 audio recordings that are nearly impossible to get anyone to listen to. I made literally thousands of phone calls to get sent around in circles to other phone numbers that I've already called to be sent back to phone numbers I've already called. I have taken tens of thousands of screenshots, and I have 15 bags of paper evidence now.
Yeah.
I also have 3 computers that are full of evidence. I have 11 USB drives that are full of evidence, and I also have a audio recording device and 4 different cameras and 5 different phones, all full of evidence.
And do you feel like collecting and keeping all of this evidence is kind of helping you build a case? Is it helping you kind of feel like you have control over things? Or?
No, ma'am. It's to show the fucking evidence of the goddamn abuse I've been trying to turn in. It's all evidence of the abuse that I've had to go through, and the crazy shit that I've had to go through, because when I call mandated reporters, they don't want to do their job right away, which means that they committed a crime, which means I have to try to turn them in for committing a crime. And then all of a sudden, I am going through a whole bunch of hoops of BS just because somebody didn't want to do their fucking job all the way back in 2016. And then they don't do their job everywhere I go as a result of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And just doing all of that extra work that you shouldn't have to do.
I'm being forced to do police officers' jobs and public pretenders' jobs, and this is inhumane. No human being should have to go through this. No human being should be forced to spend all of their disability money that's supposed to be spent to take care of themselves on jumping through all of these hoops so that I can defend myself from predators. I can't call the cops without being victimized.
Yeah, I agree that you should not have to do the police officer's work. I do. And, as unfortunate and frustrating as it is, maybe it's helpful to just focus